Gentlemen, welcome to the Brent031 YouTube channel. Now, whether you're a regular infantryman, a designated marksman, or a sniper, individual camouflage still plays a huge role on the modern day battlefield. Even in the modern times, with the mass availability of optics like thermals and night vision, the old Mark I eyeball is still the #1 means of detecting the enemy. So, with that being said, guys, I've got some new products from a guy named Kicking Mustang. If you ever seen him on YouTube, he has a large channel, but he's an airsoft sniper. Now, this guy's got his own products. They're ghillie suit products, and it just kind of covers the whole gamut. There's things from just regular blinds to balaclavas to what I'm wearing right now, the Cobra Hood, to full-blown ghillie suits. So we're gonna take a look at some of those products today, guys. I've taken a look at them. I've used them out here for a little bit. They're pretty good quality stuff. I've spent some time actually building them out because you can add this some green mesh to it. It's called adaptive ghillie mesh. I'll talk about that later in the video, but you guys can see that, you know, these things can be pretty damn effective. So what I want to talk about first is the Cobra Hood. So as an individual infantryman, you know, my need for a full-blown ghillie suit is kind of not there, right? You know, an individual infantryman that's locating, closing with, and destroying the enemy by fire and maneuver doesn't necessarily need a full-blown ghillie suit, right? It's actually a detriment to him because it's going to get caught on vegetation and anything else, you know, you name it. A designated marksman may have a need for added camouflage in terms of something like what I'm going to talk about here, like a Cobra Hood, but even him with a full-blown ghillie suit is kind of pushing it because he's typically attached to a rifle squad. But he, you know, he might be tasked with being in a overwatch position, so he might need that plussed up camouflage. But something like a Cobra Hood might be the perfect thing for him. An individual infantryman, hey, these would come in handy in things like LPOPs, plussing up your defensive position where you're trying to plus up your concealment from the enemy observation. So there are needs for individual infantrymen and designated marksmen for something like this. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that. I'll do a separate video over the full-blown ghillie suit, but I definitely want to hit these ghillie products that are applicable to regular infantrymen as well as designated marksmen. So what exactly is a Cobra Hood? Well, a Cobra Hood, guys, is going to cover the upper portion of your body. As you guys can see, the vast majority of myself is not covered in a ghillie suit. I'm still wearing the regular utilities. I still have my web equipment. I can still access my web equipment. I'm not wearing a ghillie suit. I just have this what's called a Cobra Hood that goes through the arms and then covers the top portion of your torso. And then it has a hood that can just be thrown over top, okay? So this particular one is incredibly lightweight, guys. It's made of this mesh material, really lightweight mesh, breathable mesh material, right? It goes over my regular utilities. It secures with a fast stick style buckle, and I put my arms through it. It also has little loops here that I can put my thumb through. Now, why is that important? Because if I start crawling, I'm crawling on the ground, that ground's gonna be pulling this back, and by me having that thumb loop here, when I'm crawling, it's not gonna pull this sleeve down, right? It's gonna stay put. So little thumb loop helps keep this this garment in place and pulling it down. Now, I already talked about the hood, but there's a bendable wire inside this hood so that you can form this however you see fit. So if you put this thing on and it's obscuring your vision, hey, you can adjust it easily to get it out of the way and make it how you like it, okay? So it also has adjustments. You guys can see the shock cord here where I can actually pull this hood tighter. So if I want, I can tighten this up, right? So personal preference, guys, whatever you see fit. There's also an adjustment on the back. Same thing, I can tighten up this hood to however I like it. But if you need this big, hey, this is big enough right now that this sucker will fit right over the top of a Kevlar. So in my opinion, this is a good little piece of gear for an individual infantryman. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this off so you guys can see. This thing has some cool features, okay? You can see I'm just pulling my arms out of the sleeves here. And boom, that's it, it's off. All right, so this mesh, guys, is key. Now, what do I mean by that? So not only does this mesh have foliage loops in there, so you can take natural vegetation and insert it in these foliage loops, all right? That's all over the hood, all over the back, and down the arms, all right? It has space right there because nothing helps conceal you better than natural vegetation. But natural vegetation does die, okay? So there's a lot to be said for having the artificial stuff in there as well, okay? This comes pre-established already with sewn in camouflage 3D leaves. But I'll tell you right now, one of the best things about this is this this green mesh. This is called adaptive ghillie mesh. That's what he calls it. It's light green, and the way the light reflects on this, guys, when the sunlight hits this, it reflects the same way that this bright green vegetation. So time right now in this early spring environment, I'm telling you, this adaptive ghillie mesh is money. It secures by just getting these mini zip ties. You just weave them in through the mesh itself. All right, place it in there. I would cut the leaf at an angle. That way you kind of get those natural non-straight lines with the adaptive ghillie mesh. You put it in there, you tighten down the zip tie, and there you go. You can add as much or as little of that adaptive ghillie mesh as you see fit to suit your environment. Now me, I'd probably add a little bit more out here, but I wanted to keep it somewhat a little bit bare because I wanted to add natural vegetation. Plus when the fall and winter months hit, hey, I don't want to have to take off a bunch of that shit, all right? So also has adjustment points here, guys, again, so you can tighten this up to suit your particular body. Now, one of the coolest little features of this thing is it has a bag sewn into the arm here. All right, so if it's not in use, you just tuck it into the sleeve and it's out of sight, out of mind. But when you're ready to put this up, to throw it back in your pack, just pull that bag out. You guys can see it. All right, and here we go. Just tucking this up into this bag. Once it's all in there, it's got a little draw cord. That you can pull tight, cord lock down, and boom, this sucker's done. Throw it in your butt pack, throw it in your day pack, whatever the case may be. There you go. This is done, and you can plus up your camouflage that easy. Okay, let's talk about another cool piece of gear he's got here. Well, two really. All right, next one. This is a Boonie cover. Same thing. It has sewn in foliage loops, so you can add artificial vegetation. It's also made of the same mesh material that the Cobra Hood and the full ghillie suit that I'm gonna do another video on is made of. So what does that mean to you? Well, you can add the adaptive ghillie mesh to it, guys. All you got to do is, like I said earlier, put the zip ties through there, and then boom, you can add as much or as little of that adaptive ghillie mesh as you see fit. Now the Boonie hat goes on just like any other Boonie hat. The brim actually has that wire, same wire that's in the hood, all the way around. So you can easily adjust this Boonie however you want. All right. Got a cord, you can adjust it here or wear it in a traditional manner where it's not around your head. But if you want to secure it on your head, so if you're running and it gets caught on a branch or something and goes to pull it off and it's still on attached to your head, you have that capability. All right, so very cool piece of gear, guys. Highly breathable. All right, again, maybe that same mesh. It's got an adjustment cord lock here in the back. So if I wanted to tighten this to my head to fit it, I'm just gonna pull that. And that will tighten the Boonie around my head, making it fit better. You have elastic bands, again, for inserting natural vegetation, as well as the sewn in bands as well. Okay, so pretty impressive piece of gear. Again, something that you can either wear the whole time, all right, because just wearing something as simple as a Boonie hat with vegetation, or a Kevlar helmet with vegetation in it, artificial or natural, goes a long way with breaking up your natural human silhouette. So that's another cool piece of gear. Neck gaiter, I've already got it on. So I didn't put any adaptive ghillie mesh into this, but simple piece of gear. It adjusts in the back. You guys can see, got the cord lock. So you're gonna tighten it up to your face. Okay. So again, same mesh. All right. Another piece of gear. This is also awesome. This is a Balaclava, made out of the same breathable mesh. All right. You guys are seeing it's got the elastic bands here, so you can insert natural vegetation into those. Because it's made out of the same mesh, it has the ability of taking the adaptive ghillie mesh. So as you guys can see, I've already added a significant amount of adaptive ghillie mesh on. It's got a draw cord in the back, two draw cords actually, to get a perfect form fit to your head. So let's put this on. All right, so I got the Balaclava on my head. If I want to adjust it, I can adjust it here in the back. Now, what's a cool feature about this Balaclava that I haven't seen on a lot? So this piece right here, you guys can see how it's cut and contoured, okay? It goes straight down. Now, why is that good? Well, let's say you're laying in the prone, you're looking at a target. Because this piece goes straight down, it's not forming, it's not contouring itself to my neck here, and when the sun hits me, my neck's not going to project that shadow right underneath my neck. It's because it's coming straight down. It's just going to reflect how you see it, right? It's not going to make that recognizable silhouette of a human form of a face. So this helps break up that outline, okay? I'm not sure exactly what he calls that, but that's its purpose. It comes straight down rather than contouring itself to my neck so that it creates that shadow underneath my neck here from the sun when it hits it. It comes straight down so that, you know, it just flows naturally and straight, and then that way it helps break up my human outline, okay? So that's pretty cool. I don't know if I've ever seen that on another Balaclava. So that's a pretty cool little feature. But again, guys, you know, this lightweight mesh material, very adaptive. You just customize it to your respective area that you're operating in. All right, next thing I want to talk about is his rifle wrap. So this is just a long piece of camouflage 3D cut material. So I have just taken some adaptive ghillie mesh and tied it in with the rifle wrap itself. You guys can see how much it's doing to break up that recognizable outline of my rifle. It's important to note that when you're putting this on your rifle, make sure you're not putting it where it obscures any of your optics. Make sure it's not interfering with any of the function of the rifle, i.e. your charging handle, your safety selector, trigger, magazine release, ejection port, cover, anything like that, okay? So just be cautious of where you're putting this, but you guys can see that this just does wonders in helping break up that very recognizable outline of a rifle itself. So, you know, not only is painting your weapon and camouflaging weapon good, but actually putting stuff like this, rifle wraps and things like that on your rifle goes a long way with helping camouflage your weapon. And this is something that even an individual infantryman would benefit from, because hey, you can't go wrong with camouflage, okay? And in this case, rifle wraps like this, it's not too much, all right, that where it actually interferes with your functioning as an individual infantryman. Designated marksmen and snipers, all the way, you should probably have some sort of some camouflage rifle wrap to help conceal your position. So this is the base mesh that the suits are made out of. These are fantastic. This is essentially kind of like a sniper veil. You can buy these in and of itself. And again, guys, you can tie in adaptive ghillie mesh with this because it's essentially see-through, okay? But this is a good piece of gear. Keep it in your pack. Just like any type of sniper veil, you can roll this up, throw it in your pack, help plus up a position. This one right here is the Woodland floor mesh variant. So if you're looking at his website and you wanted to pick some of this up, you can see it's kind of lighter. There's a second one that's called Dark Forest base mesh. And again, this kind of really blends in with the, you know, the really much darker forest floor. So definitely fall, winter time, this mesh will blend in very well here where I'm at. And you guys can see how it's actually blending in pretty good with the mud itself on the ground. So, all right, next piece of gear I want to talk about that's part of the Mustang Concealment System is his pack cover. So, again, comes in its own integrated pouch here. Gonna pull this out. Just like the other gear, it's attached to the pack cover itself. Okay, so it's essentially got its own self-contained packing up feature. So nothing crazy, guys. It's the same mesh material, right? Draw cord here with cord lock to tighten it down, and again, same principle. It's got the 3D leaves sewn onto it, and then I've added the adaptive ghillie mesh to the bag itself. So how are we going to utilize this? Well, I'm simply going to put that drawstring on the bottom here. But I'm going to put this cover over the pack. All right, so I want to cover my pack entirely, minus the straps, obviously. And then once I've got that done, I'm going to start pulling on this draw cord. You guys can see how it's cinching down to my pack. All right, got to make sure my pack straps are out of it. I've tightened this down. Now this is tight to my pack. So you guys can see now my pack is completely covered, and I've upped the camouflage of the pack itself. So as I'm moving around on patrol or wherever the case may be, you guys can see I've plussed up my camouflage on this particular pack. Well, that's it, gentlemen. That completes this video review over these products from Kicking Mustang Concealment Systems. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to check out my channel and subscribe. I've done several gear reviews in the past, plan to do several more in the future. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment.